guys, I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with another beautiful, lovely, sometimes she's been known to make this man a sandwich, wife of mine, light of my life, Yanzi.
Hi.
And today is the day we are talking more about Decimated DC as ahead of the Discovery merger. Purges are happening, so let's get into it. So first off, guys, if you will, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications as we do cover Decimated DC. Now, I am a 20-year plus comic book veteran. A lot of those years working at DC Comics, even the WB store back in the day. That's how far it goes back with me. I used to fold Superman t-shirts, then drew some Superman comics. And today I am here to read the obituary very slowly of DC Comics as it is... no more DC Comics, no more of what it's a shadow of itself that we're here. You're going to say, Shane, that's crazy. Batman just made like $1 bajillion. What are you talking about? That movie everybody's talking about. Well, that's true. People are talking about some R-Pat's Batman, but the question really is anybody talking about anything else going on at DC Comics? Like the Wonder Woman, the Supermans, the Aquamans, the Martian Manhunters, Cyborg. Is anybody even talking about Ray Fisher anymore? So let's get into it. What we got here, Yanzi?
It looks like the merger is leading to a lot of throats being cut at this point. Pardon my language. But yeah, they're just offering all these people whose jobs have... Okay, basically, if your job already exists over at Discovery, you pretty much don't have a job when the merger happens. That's what's happening. All right, so we know Jason Keller got the boot, and of course, Ann Sarnoff. Today, we just lost more and more people. We lost the Chief Human Resource Officer, Chief Revenue Officer, General Counsel, Chief Technology Officer. So yeah, basically all the positions that existed at Discovery, they're all being eliminated when they have the merger. So, well, but is this really a bad thing though? I mean, that's the whole point of a merger, right? You put two companies together, you trim all the fat, you end up with a leaner, meaner machine. Isn't that what is supposed to happen?
Well, basically, there's a lot of people at DC Comics or Warner Brothers, whatever you want to call it, AT&T, whatever the hell that company is, this conglomerate. They're dubbed redundant right now. Their job, and it's weird, like, chances are they're going to stick with the people at Discovery for those jobs. I mean, you know, they ate you up. So, you know, there goes your job. But we're going to talk about what this means because ahead of this, DC Comics was moving offices to hot desk. Now, we talked about this on the channel. Basically, what a hot desk is whoever gets there first, that is your desk. Squatter rights, that's basically it, right? So DC Comics says this division doesn't even need this nice office space that was basically built when they moved out to California specifically for this. Now, what does this mean? I say there's been a lot of cutbacks happening over and over again, and I've heard rumor that Marie Javins is actually not even editor-in-chief anymore. And for some reason, and I'm going to leave it at a rumor, this isn't making Bleeding Cool. This isn't making The Beat. And this is alarming because the time syncs up with this modular desk system of DC Comics and moving out of that office. Of course, people are going to say, no, Shane, that's not true. Comics are doing better than ever. You're just sounding like CG. Like these things, the sky is not falling, Shane. Okay, you're getting, you know, big plates of sky are falling and squashing people, but it's not falling, Shane. It's not, you know.
Let me stop you there because I remember hearing this exact same thing being said a couple of years ago, right? Wasn't that what was said when Warner decided to be ate up by AT&T? And they're like, oh, don't worry, DC Comics will be fine. And what happened in the past 2 years? Bloodbath 1, Bloodbath 2, Bloodbath number 3.
Right. And a lot of turnover. We've seen Bob Harris leave. We've seen Dan Didio leave. A lot of turnover's been happening. And I mean, that's like on a high executive VIP level. Okay. That's not even talking about all the other editorial that left, like Mike Cotton and so on. So if everything's doing so great in comics, if I'm Not Starfire is not setting the world on fire, why is there so much turnover? By the way, the lady that was in charge of the graphic novel division, which would have been the one responsible for I'm Not Starfire, not there anymore. And also, Coates' Black Superman movie is a cold turkey, they say. They're putting kind of a kibosh to that, so to speak. They're saying, like, the script's not in. So this thing that they were going to so brave and bold go forward with, now it's like, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we want to hold back a little bit. Now, there's a lot of other talk going on out there. Rumors, I'm going to say, are they going to reinvest on the Snyderverse? What's up with that? That, I believe, could be true. And you're going to say, Shane, but they've lost so much money with the Zack Snyder Justice League. Absolutely, they have. But see, there's this hope with every new company that comes along that they can salvage the investment of the previous company by somehow just doing it just a little bit better, and then somehow we can salvage all the investment and resell it. That's not going to happen. I mean, I could see Discovery saying, yeah, the multiverse, whatever, and that's a whole thing on its own. But yeah, we can salvage it. We can make do. We can refurbish it and resell it again. The other guy didn't do it right. They just don't understand Snyder. Maybe that'll happen. We don't know. But what is happening right now in this doom and gloom era is the Batman is making a crap load of money, right?
So the Batman just crossed 700 million at the global box office, which is pretty amazing because remember, we just had this thing called the pandemic. Then I guess you can kind of say Spider-Man No Way Home kind of paved the way to
Right.
$1 billion box office. And now the Batman looks like, I don't know where it really cracked $1 billion. It may come close to it, but it looks like finally, DC has a winner on their hand again after that burst of praise fiasco just before, the pandemic. Now, I want to point out one thing, though. For people who are saying, well, see, Shane and Yanzi, this proves it. This proves that DC Comics is doing better than ever. No. Whatever that is being made, the money that's being made by the DC properties does not flow back into the DC Comics division coffers. That's not how it works.
Right. I would argue that people maybe just are spending their money elsewhere on other Batman things than Batman comics. So the comic industry right now, obviously not doing too good. What do we got here?
Well, they are spending money on Batman comics, though, dear. That's kind of the irony of it. We look at the top 50 comic book by units sold for March. You look at this entire list of top 50. I actually counted it. There are only 9 DC books on the list of the top 50. That's quite frightening considering that they used to be the big two. Only 9 titles.
Roughly 1/5. That's like 1/5 of the chart.
Not even 1/5, yeah.
DC books.
And of course, not surprisingly, all the books that are in the top 50 are all Batman or Batman related titles. Like you see Nightwing over here, the comics.
Yeah,
So
all related of some sort. And still, that's kind of a failing event here that DC only covers 1/5. Because there's some other books here that really aren't superhero books. They're more like independent books by Tinian and things like that. Why that's important is DC Comics used to have like a toehold in such anthologies as like Weird War Tales or House of Secrets and things like that, or House of Mystery. And that's not even talking about the whole Vertigo imprint that DC Comics had basically slaughtered with Andy Curry. They're totally just superheroes, but here is where it gets interesting. There's only one superhero. If the superhero is not in Gotham, nobody cares. This is like, people are going to say DC Comics with this merger, they make so little money, Shane, that they're not going to be the first to be cut. As Discovery's trying to get like, what was it, 3 million in cost?
3 billion they're trying to cut, but honey, they already did the cut. They effectively kicked DC out of the offices, even though they're saying things like, "Oh, don't worry, they will move into the new office when it's done." It's like,
Right. Okay. So I'm going to tell you why DC Comics, my theory is DC Comics will be the first to be affected by this for 2 reasons. One, anything they want to do with Superman, Wonder Woman, any of these characters that Discovery is basically buying, the quickest turnaround time to throw a concept out isn't going to be a video game. It isn't going to be a movie. It isn't going to be streaming. It's actually going to be in a comic book. 3-month period. It's on the shelf. They can read online what people think about it. So first off, DC Comics will be affected. It will be more about the material they're doing. The other way I feel that DC Comics is going to be affected, and I hope I'm wrong on this, and this is just a hunch, but if it is true that Marie Jabbins is no longer editor-in-chief of DC Comics, they're quietly hiding this, and between the offices and whatnot, there's a lot of people that have probably signed NDAs that can't even talk about it. There have been rumors out there that there is a lot of top talent at DC, that few top talents that are there at DC Comics won't be there in a year from now. It is very much possible in the state of the comic book industry that they're not wanting to scream the word fire, meaning like everybody run for an emergency exit, you retailers. Because why? because you're ordering things 3 months in advance. You're also this would not look good on Discovery if they're going to quietly run out of the comic book business, or they're going to license it out. This has been said before. If DC Comics can only sell Batman comics and they can't sell Superman, despite all the LGBTQ plus parading they're doing with that, if that's not translating into sales, which is really off this chart, Tom Taylor really sucked at that, then there's no reason. I mean, you do not need DC Comics staff to make Batman comics if that's the only thing people are interested in. Actually, I would say DC Comics in general is failing right now if Batman's the only thing you can get people to show up for, because you have Superman, you have Wonder Woman, you know, you have Green Lantern, you have Flash, you have Aquaman, you have all these household name characters, Robin even. You have all these household name characters that basically people know, people wear their t-shirts, but nobody cares to read their comic, only Batman. You don't need a comic book company for that, because you can actually license that out to IDW, Dynamite, Boom, whoever. Dark Horse even. Dark Horse would probably love to make DC Comics after losing Star Wars, after basically losing Alien and Predator, all to Disney. They would pick this up in a heartbeat. That is my hunch, is like there's some movement happening, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. The people that are keeping their jobs, which might be Jim Lee, they're quietly moving things around into a position that Discovery wants. When a company buys out another company like this, there are things they want to see done to buy the company. And right now, DC Comics does look like it's on a charted course for something. And what that destination is absolutely not what we saw last year or the year prior or whatever. But there are moves being made within DC Comics right now. And it might be that it needs to sink. Like, I don't know if somebody at DC Comics is purposely sinking the ship to have an excuse to get out of making comics, basically, maybe licensing it out. Maybe they actually need to point and say, this isn't financially feasible. You see, guys, now, you know, maybe Dark Horse, Dynamite, they're making 10 DC Comics, you know, and this is a domino effect that will affect the entire comic book industry, because a lot of the comic book industry, you know, retailers are ordering other like indie books and stuff based off the profits they're making off of DC Comics or Marvel Comics. And Marvel is only going to put out as much as they need to be competitive with DC Comics. So this is an ecosystem issue in the American comic book industry.
Well, one thing for sure, though, DC Comics will continue to exist even if DC Comics itself stops producing comics, because somebody is going to need to be in the law offices there to wrap all these contracts as the characters get licensed out to all these different companies, right, dear?
Right. That is the thing. There will be a version of DC Comics, and that will be one lawyer in a cubicle somewhere that everybody reports to as you make your Batman candy bars, as you make your Superman soap on a rope, whatever. But anyways, Shane Davis is Inglorious Rex, new backers rolling in $251,731, over $250,000 for this punch up monster book, a beautiful book by a beautiful creative team, Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin. Let me leave you guys with the trailer for Inglorious Rex.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been? I don't know where to begin. All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for a hostage, so now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the game.